Hey guys and welcome back. So as a university student living in Korea, I have realized that I am pretty broke. So I decided recently that I need a job. So while I was searching for my part-time job, I've kind of thought about the part-time jobs I've had in the past. And I'm going to tell you guys a story about a job I had in the summer of my freshman year of university. I used to work at a shoe store in front of my university, and basically what I would do during the whole day is basically stand there, help people with their size, and that's about it. To be honest, it was a pretty good job and I actually liked it, but there was a lot of things that made it really hard for me. And it wasn't the customers were fine. It was better than what I expected because, to be honest, that was my first ever job meeting customers in real life. I used to work as a telemarketer, but that's a whole different story. I've always wanted to work at a shoe store because to me it sounded very fun. It sounded like an easy job that I just had to basically get close to people really fast and basically sell them a pair of shoes, which kind of sounded easy to me. So basically, if I start from how I got this job, I didn't know that most of the times in Korea, how you would get a job is actually just through apps. There are several apps in Korea where you basically use it to get a part-time job, but I never knew about it, which is why me as a foreigner, I would walk around stores in Korea basically handing out my CV like I used to do in New Zealand. And basically every store would usually reject it if you didn't come through these apps. But this one shoe store was pretty in needed of an employee, which is why on the spot they asked me if I was okay the week after, and basically they hired me on the spot. I thought I was just lucky to get this job. I didn't really ring into my head that there's a reason why I got this job so easily. Anyways, I really needed a job, so I basically just took it as an offer and I basically worked there for a whole month. I did not know how much of a pain and how hard this is gonna be. I desperately needed some money, which is why I didn't really read the contract properly, but I realized that this job required me to work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I didn't really read this. I was like, oh shit, that's just a lot of work. But I did not know that it was gonna be this hard. Basically on the job, what you would do is you go to the store around 10 a.m. and basically you do a little bit of cleaning. You also help in reinstock new shoes that has come in, and basically from there it's where war begins. Basically you stand up and basically you have to stand still for the whole time, and when a guest comes in you basically greet them with the basic traditional greeting in Korea, and basically you kind of jolt behind them and basically help them with any size that they need. But the hardest thing was just the fact that you had to stay standing for over 12 hours a day. That is what literally drove me insane. After the first few days, my legs started giving out, which is why as soon as I go home, I would oftentimes just straight pass out on the ground. This was around the time when it clicked into my head why they hired me on the spot and why they were so desperate of an employee. So I decided to ask one of my other workers that worked with me, and he told me, well, he's been working for a month. He's only been there for a month. He told me that he's seen over 4 people come in and leave because this job was so hard. And to be honest, it kind of sounds ridiculous, but I kind of understand. If you're forced to stand up, literally not sit down for 12 hours a day, that literally drives someone insane. Besides standing up for over 12 hours a day, another thing that really drove me insane was the fact that I actually never got recognized for doing well at my job. I would oftentimes sell more shoes than people who have worked here for over a year because of the fact that I can speak English. I realized that in front of my university there was a lot of foreign students, and because of summer holiday there's a lot of students who came here for summer school, which is why I decided that oftentimes I would greet the customers in English, and oftentimes they will be the main reason that actually makes the customers want to buy the shoes, because they can relate to me. Oftentimes I would sell up to maybe like $1,000 worth of shoes a day, and that would usually result in double of what other people would make. But the thing is, they never recognized me for doing my job. At our store, for some reason, if you do a really well job, they will give you like time where you can come in late. So basically you'll start from lunchtime, not at 10 o'clock. It was pretty shit, and I actually got discriminated a lot while working by other workers. I reckon it was worth all the customers that I met. Because I spoke English, I really got close to a lot of the customers who also spoke English, which is why oftentimes I would make great friends and they would ask me for my number and I would just give them my number, and oftentimes after I finish working, even if it's late at night, I will still hang out with them. Some of my closest friends right now were actually customers back when I was working at the shoe store. Another good thing about being good at English while other workers can't is the fact that you can literally say anything you want to the customers in English and other workers think that you're doing your job properly. In Korea, some of the stores have few workers standing outside the store just in front of the door gates, and they kind of scream stuff outside, which basically draws in the customers in. So basically they'll say like, hey, we're having a sale, feel free to come in, or stuff like that, which they basically scream it out, and that gets a lot of the customers' attention, and basically some of them actually listen to it and come inside. So I decided to take this as my advantage to actually just go out there and scream whatever the fuck I want in English, and none of my workers actually cared what I said. Sometimes I would actually say the right things like, hey guys, we're having a 50% sale, feel free to come in. But a lot of the times I would be like, hey, you guys really shouldn't come here because I am treated like shit and I'm only a part-time worker, so it really doesn't matter if you guys come and buy our shoes. I reckon this was one of the most entertaining times. Besides actually getting to know customers, this was pretty entertaining to me because as a guy who was just in this weird uniform, the pedestrians or just random people that walked past, they thought it was just normal for me to scream random shit. Well, they had no clue what the hell I was talking about. I remember oftentimes I would just be like, hey, what's up bro, and just like literally just say hi to white people or people who I think they could speak English when they walk past, and they would just give me like a little nod or something, and it would be just the funniest moments. And sometimes they'll just stop and have a little talk with me, and then they'll just go on their way. But it was really entertaining to me, just the fact that I can like literally scream at the top of my lungs anything in English, and people who are Korean would accept that as just being normal. I think overall, if I was asked to do that job again, but not 6 times a week and not actually 12 hours a day, I would actually do it. If it was like 4 times a week, at least maybe 6 to 7 hours a day, I would do it in a heartbeat because it was actually really fun meeting those customers. But I would never ever recommend it to anyone to join a clothing retail if it is for 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. That is not a good deal. It doesn't matter how much you get paid, it's just not worth the time. Anyways, for those people who are thinking about working in a shoe store, or in Korea if you're thinking about joining, any of the big companies like ABC or Lesmo, I recommend it's a good deal as long as the time is not too extreme. Anyways, that is my experience of working at a part-time job, especially in a shoe store in Korea. If you guys like this story, feel free to give a like. If you guys want to comment about what you guys think, feel free to do so, and feel free to hit the subscribe button if you guys want to. Well, thank you, and I'll see you guys next week. Ciao for now.